Hey friends, welcome back to Cooking with Shelley, Pampered Chef Style, and to my Pampered Kitchen. I'm Shelley, and this is part 2 of our herbs, preparing our herbs for winter. So there are so many things. If you saw part 1, if you didn't see part 1, go back and check that out. I took you out to my garden to see all kinds of wild herbs and plants that are growing that you can use for nutrition, and they're very tasty. So they're out there in your backyard, in the garden. The only thing I would like to caution you that I forgot to mention on my last video is that make sure you don't pick beside the roadway or close to the road, or on somebody else's property, because you don't know what is on it, pesticides, dust, and all kinds of things from passers-by. So you want to make sure you go to your own backyard as much as possible, or forest, and that it's not been treated with pesticides, okay? So I'm going to take today 4 of those wild herbs, wild plants that I pointed out to you in the garden, and we are going to preserve them for use down the road. We've got a long, cold, hard winter coming, and it's anticipated there's going to be food shortages, which means greens, right? So why not take advantage of everything that Mother Nature has given us and prepare some now so that you can use it down the road. Now, of course, you can resort to freezing, but if you're anything like me, my freezers are all full. Not with herbs and whatnot, but other things. So you've got your berries in there, and of course space for your other items. And here we've got 4 plants. So I've got right here this big bunch. In here in my bowl, I've got some wild violets, and this is the plant, the greens. The flowers have all been spent, but the flowers are also edible. And then we've got some wild lettuce, and we've got some clover, and I've got more in here. This big bunch here, these have already been rinsed off, and these I rinsed off, and I just wanted to show you because I just brought them in from the garden. And all you do is just rinse off the dust. I'm just using a tea towel that I keep specific for doing my cleaning my fruit and veggies. And you just want to get as much of the water off as possible because we're going to be dehydrating today. And that is one form of preservation, so which does not require the fridge, the refrigerator, or the freezer then. So once it's dehydrated, you can just put it into a bottle or container or even a bag, and just pack it away, label it, pack it away for further use when you can't get the fresh stuff or any fresh stuff and you know what's in it. So what would you use this for at any time? Right now, as fresh, all of these I use in salads. If you've seen any of my other videos, I use them in salads. I use them in smoothies. I use them for my doggies, for their greens. I grind them all up. I put them in my blender and fresh and use them like that. And they are wonderful and so nutritious. So don't take my word for it. Go ahead, look it up for yourself with Dr. Google or any of the, there's a lot of foragers out there, and there's a lot of great books. So I invite you to go and check them out for yourself, and then go and forage in your backyard or in your forest around your house. All right, so these are ready to go. Now, how I'm going to dehydrate them, I'll tell you a little bit about that right now. So right here, I've got my Deluxe Air Fryer. And you've seen me, if you've been following me for a while, you've seen me use this quite often. I honestly use it multiple times a day. It is like the best investment that I've had in my kitchen, honestly. So it's not just an air fryer, and that's the fantastic part about it. We've got air fry, bake, roast, rotisserie function, reheat, which replaces my microwave for a lot of things, and then dehydrate. And with the rotisserie function, I've also found that it replaces my barbecue for a lot of things, like my chicken, my kebabs. You can buy all kinds of extra pieces to go with the air fryer, but it does come with a basket for doing French fries and all kinds of little appetizers if you want. And it comes with the rotisserie function as well as these trays, okay? And a drip tray. And then this is one extra piece that you can get, which I really like, and that is a tray, a rack with a silicone tray underneath to catch any juices of something that you might be cooking. And of course, as with all products, it comes with a cooking guide which has wonderful recipes. Now for dehydrating, you can dehydrate all kinds of things. We're doing some wild plants today, like some wild lettuce, dandelion, and clover and violet. But you can also do fruit and other veggies. With everything coming on right now, it is the time to preserve. So most people think about canning and freezing as the main ways of preserving, and dehydrating is another great way to preserve, and it doesn't have to take up room in your fridge or your freezer. So without further ado, let's get on with that. So you want to have them, try to have them the same length as much as possible. Now the dandelion, I'm cutting off the root because I'm going to roast the root, and I use the roasted root. I grind it after it's roasted, and you can use it in tea. You can just add the powder to your smoothies as well, because dandelion has actually been studied to be a anti-cancer, and it helps in a lot of other immune diseases as well. So I'm going to be keeping these roots for roasting, so they can't go in right now because we're just going to dehydrate. And dehydrating takes approximately 1 to 2 hours. It depends on what you're dehydrating, because some plants need to be in longer than others. So for the clover, for example, I've taken the clover and made tea with fresh clover. So you can also do it with dry plants as well. I also dehydrate, I'm going to be dehydrating my herbs, like my basil, I've got a whack of oregano, and I'll probably do another video with that, as well as rosemary. I don't need to dehydrate it, but you can if you want to. And parsley, it's another great one. And I also have stevia growing, which I do dehydrate, and then you can grind it up into a powder and add to your cooking, your baking, because of course I don't add sugar. So I'm actually going to leave the root on my clover and just put it on the tray like this. And I've got some more here. Try to keep it together. And then I've got some